I wanted to cover this topic because it's one that I haven't really seen talked about here on YouTube. There's a small sphere of people talking about it over on Twitter, but it needed some light to be shed on it over here. And that topic would be the case of Buddy Hield and his very obvious burner account. Many people will remember the situation back in 2018 when Philadelphia 76ers president of basketball operations Bryan Colangelo resigned after it came forward that he and his wife had created 6 burner accounts on Twitter that defended his actions and ridiculed his predecessor Sam Hinkie and his star player Joel Embiid. Since this point, burner accounts have been more common and many players have admitted to having them. But we don't often get to see the actual accounts get found naturally. But now is a time that we do. An account by the name of 242boss on Twitter has been noticed by some users on the site for curious activity dating back to its creation in 2019. The account obsessively talks about Buddy Hield and slanders the Kings for trading him. The account has almost 2,000 tweets and the overwhelming majority are about the Pacers shooting guard. Shout out to DeBall on Twitter for a bunch of great finds from the account that make it overwhelmingly obvious that it is Buddy Hield. It's one of the funniest situations I've seen in a while, and the fact that the account immediately blocks anyone that calls him Buddy Hield makes it even more obvious. The idea of a burner is that people aren't supposed to be able to tell it's you, but honestly, it's more clear that this account is Hield than his official one. Now let's take a deeper look into the case of Buddy Hield and the very obvious burner account. Before we get into what could be the biggest NBA burner scandal since Bryan Colangelo, if you enjoy my content and watch a few videos of mine, think about subscribing. 96% of my viewers are actually not subscribed, so if you watch me before and enjoy the content, drop a sub and comment down below. It really helps the channel. Okay, so before we get into the burner, let's get a better look at who we're talking about. Buddy Hield is a 30-year-old shooting guard for the Indiana Pacers. He was drafted by the New Orleans Pelicans at 6 overall in 2016, before being traded to the Sacramento Kings in his rookie year as part of the DeMarcus Cousins trade. He played 5 seasons with the Kings, even averaging a career-high 21 points per game in 2019. He has spent the last year and a half with the Pacers after being included in the Tyrese Halliburton and Domantas Sabonis swap. He has been one of the best shooters in the league since stepping in, shooting 40% from behind the arc for his career and 43% last season. But the most important thing you should know about Buddy is that he's from the Bahamas, which will come up later. He's even playing for the Bahamian national team this summer. Now let's take a look at the burner account. The account going simply by 242boss with a profile picture of a tree is what we'll be looking at. It has had suspicious tweets since its origin in 2019, which would be around the time that Hield was putting up his most impressive scoring seasons with Sacramento. Before we get directly into some of the examples of the tweets, let's look at the reasoning that DeBall gave for why he's sure it's Hield, which I think is a good starting point. Nah, the Twitter one is deadass Buddy Hield. Has never tweeted during a game Buddy has been playing in, was created when Buddy got his extension with the Kings, first tweet criticized the Kings GM, switched from Kings to Pacers the moment Buddy got traded too. This got a response from the account Draymond Green's burner, which shared a similar sentiment. Account is religious, just like Buddy. 2,000 tweets and not a single tweet during a game Buddy played in. Account follows only a few players. One player is Allen Iverson, Buddy's idol growing up. Account follows De'Aaron Fox's dad. Account follows a family friend of Buddy. And then finally, this got one last response from DeBall that I want to include. Okay, yeah, this the icing on the cake for me. Followed Buddy for a long time until he got caught the first time too. All this information was the icing on the cake for me as well, because when you add it all up, it becomes pretty damning. The fact that the account has never once tweeted during a game that Buddy Hield is playing in is for sure the strongest evidence. If it was just a fan of his or someone that really enjoyed the teams he was on, they would 100% live tweet his games, and most likely do it very frequently. The fact that it not only doesn't, but never has, doesn't really make sense. I don't think the timing of its creation necessarily leads directly to it being a burner, but that paired with the criticism of the GM at the time does help lend to the cause. The team switch is also pretty clear, but that could just be a fan of his. The two facts from DeBall that are the most confirming to me are the non-live tweeting and the fact that the account unfollowed Buddy Hield shortly after being called out, which is extremely weird considering it still tweets about him religiously. The following of Iverson could be a coincidence. He was one of the most influential NBA players ever, but following an ex-teammate's dad is very abnormal, and following a family friend of Buddy's, which would be info that's hard to come by, is kind of the nail in the coffin. But let's go through some of the most obvious tweets. We'll start off with the account claiming that Hield is a better shooter than Reggie Miller, who has the third most made threes in NBA history. 242 Boss says, Buddy Hield has been his starter 90% of his 7-year career. What are you talking about? He's a way better shooter than Reggie. Give it up. Yeah, I legitimately don't know how anyone could believe this or even try to defend it in any logical way. If not Hield himself, it would have to be his own mother. Then, after he was traded to the Pacers, all the account has done is criticize and talk negatively about the Kings. One tweet simply said, garbage franchise. In response to another tweet, it said, Buddy Hield is having the time of his life and the Kings won't see another playoffs. Laugh at that. Which is ironic because the Kings were just the third seed in the West and the Pacers missed the playoffs. It also praises the guy he got dealt with in Tyrese Halliburton, but often slanders De'Aaron Fox. The funniest ones, though, are the whiny defenses of Hield, like the one that reads, people need to shut up about Buddy's defense already. The dude could always play defense. Or, is Kevin Huerter setting records? Nope. How many records Buddy done set? LOL, Kings lost that trade. It also very weakly tries to claim that it's not Buddy Hield and deflects onto others. He responded to DeBall, going to this length just to try and prove a false point shows how clueless you are and how little of a life you have. It's sad, really. Or the classic, don't call me Buddy Hield, I'll block you immediately. Yeah, that's a real great defense, man. The account has recently talked very positively about the Bohemian national team as well, which brings me to my last point. The name of the account, 242 Boss. What could the 242 mean? All it took was a quick Google search, and 242 is the phone area code for the Bahamas, where Buddy is from. When all the evidence is stacked together, there's really no denying it. This is Buddy Hield's burner account, and it's pretty obvious too. Thanks for watching. I'm Herm. Have a good one.